Howdy folks, Dreadshells here, and welcome back to World of Tanks. Today we're going to be looking at a game that I had in my RU-251, the Tier 9 German scout tank, and we are on the Pilsen map. So let's just get started. And the main reason that I want to show you guys this video is Pilsen is quite a difficult map to do well on consistently in scouts, even when you're top tier, like I am in this battle. I do have the benefit of the enemy team not having a ton of speed. They have a few fast mediums here, and they also have a 1390. And a couple other tank destroyers are pretty mobile, but all things considered, they could have a lot more speed and a lot more vision. The matchmaking lately has been throwing a lot of scouts into games, and it's really difficult to do the normal vision roll. So right now I'm just doing an early conservative roll scout on these cold dunes here and the 8-9 lines, just trying to get a feel for the dispersion of what tanks the enemy team are sending over to this side of the map. Keep in mind that I'm just going to pause this. If you guys have watched any of my last videos in the past, you know that I do this every now and again when I do commentary videos. When you're doing the roll scouts in any particular mission on any map, just be aware of the positions that people use on maps. So I spotted the 1390 early, so I know that he's over here and he's not in the middle of the dunes. I didn't spot anybody else, so I know that it's safe to cross here once I got unspotted. Excuse me. Because I have much better camo rating, and just see where my vision circle is. This white circle over here, that's my spotting distance, 445 meters. Your view range can go higher than that, and your total view range goes towards defeating enemy camo rating, but this is the max distance that you can spot an enemy tank. So as long as I keep this sniper ridge over here just inside the white 445 meter circle, that I know that there's a very low chance that anybody over here will spot me. There could be someone over here that has moved up that would spot me, that maybe the Type 59, which we know he's over here, or the Lorraine 40T, who's fast enough as well. But just little things like that to know that it's safe for you to cross. I didn't get a lot of information when I was roll scouting on these roll dunes over here, so I'm going to move over here into these bushes. I honestly am still not very good at working these bushes on the zero line, and I don't typically go here that often when I'm playing on Pilsen, but I'm trying to learn more and more often. Risky taking that shot there. I probably should not have shot there, and really lucky that I did not get spotted. Also not paying attention that I'm this close to the edge of the map. That was a really bad misplay, and if I had gotten spotted, I probably would have taken a lot of damage there. So right now I'm just trying to progress in bush hop on the zero line. I'm not very good at using these bushes normally. I think the main problem with the zero line, see there, we just got spotted without spotting whoever spotted us. So I know that whoever spotted me, basic line of sight rules, right? So I know that whoever spotted me, either it was from here because they're high enough to see me when I'm on this little knoll here, but I'm thinking that this bush line here is high enough to conceal me from the sniper ridge. So because I took this straight line here, these bushes would conceal my approach to anyone who's sitting over here. So I know that whoever spotted me is right here, right? They're in this inside row of bushes. So just knowing the line of sight and the camo concealment area on a map is really useful to knowing where an enemy is, even if you haven't spotted them. Excuse me. And I think that I can't remember, this is the first time I'm watching this since I played this game. I don't remember if I tried to spot him or if I choose to retreat. It's really difficult to spot in this zero line because basically the camo rating of these bushes is so good that you generally will not spot an enemy until you proxy spot them. And there we go, it was the T-44-100. and we do, because of our retreat line, we're able to get a slightly different line of sight angle to where he was sitting in the bush, and somehow I spotted him. I don't think he was quite fully concealed in the bush from how I was retreating there. So that's good. We got his gun out of the fight. And now I'm going to start relocating back over here to the center. Like I said, I don't really like progressing up the zero line because it's very difficult to spot the enemies until you're within proxy range of them. And then once that happens, it's too late and they can shoot you, and the sniper nest over there in C8 can shoot you. Right now, I'm just trying to move a little bit closer to the C8 to see if I can spot anything over there. I don't like this. I'm going to pause the game. Because I have I have a lot of firepower over here, right? I have 4 tank destroyers with really big guns, but I don't have any tanks that can push with me, so to say, right? So I don't like progressing, the idea of progressing up underneath the sniper ridge here. I could do that, and I would most likely take a shot or of damage or even more, but I can't really do anything once I get here, right? I can spot them, maybe get a guy destroyed over here, but then I don't have any options, right? Because I don't have anybody else with me directly side by side that can engage tanks over here. So what I'm going to actually do is move over here to the factory area. This M46 Patton over here, I've been watching on the mini-map, and I saw that he cleared and drove through the center factory area here with no resistance. So I know that there's no enemy tanks directly on the north side of this factory is the main thing that I'm concerned about. So I think they killed the Type 59. Yep, they killed the Type 59 that was there. So now a different angle that you can use to spot the sniper ridge over here is actually going through the center factory area here, and there's this little gap right here that you'll see after I go through here. And there we go, we actually spotted him, mainly because he was moving and relocating. I probably would not have spotted him if he was just still sitting there in the bush. But you can see there that you have a different line of sight there to the bushes, and you can maybe get a sharper angle on him and maybe see the rear of the tank exposed beyond the bush. Oh, and there we go. There's this super Pershing that I spotted at the beginning of the game that he was relocating. Very unfortunate that I didn't damage him with my first shot, and now I have to take a shot of damage to kill him. I'm willing to trade here to take his gun out of the fight. Maybe I didn't have to, but generally I try to trade like that to get the gun out of the fight. He doesn't have a very high alpha gun, so that was okay. I'm running away now because when the Jagdtiger 88 back here on the 8 line was last spotted, he was moving up. Also, the 1390 doesn't have a very long reload, and he could YOLO me. Oh, pro driving there. I was watching the mini map and not paying attention to where I was driving. Multitasking is very hard. So I saw that the Jagdtiger was gonna cross here, so I just stop and wait for a shot here. Already nails a big hit on him there, and I get a side shot into him there. I was really surprised that I didn't get spotted there. The Jagdtiger 88 has really good view range, and probably because he was stunned by the arty. And now that I see that our tank destroyers are pushing over here, which is really surprising, I decided to come over here and see what I can do to help them, but they probably have that taken care of on their own. They don't really need my help. Yep. And so now what has happened is this has turned into a I can pause the game here. This has turned into an east versus west fight. Unfortunately, our forces over here on the 1, 2, 3 lines and these 2 mini factory areas over here, they did get some tanks killed, but they pushed up far enough to where the sniper support over here in A1 was able to support the enemy team that was on the D line here, and they got pretty much wrecked after they pushed past this point. So now we have to think about changing the angles here and trying to figure out where the enemy is. Step number 1, when you are in a battle where the enemy has won one flank and you have won the other flank, as a scout, you need to reacquire the enemy, right? You need to know where they are, because generally what happens is some tanks go back to defend, some tanks go over here to attack your cap, and you need to know which tanks are going where and how many of them to decide where you need to be, and hopefully your teammates will make a good decision with that information as well. We are down a tank, but we still have a lot of firepower, so I'm not too concerned, not yet. The RHM shows up there on the corner, and for some reason he was shooting high explosive at our Wheezy 120. Very fortunate for our Wheezy 120 because he would have died there with the first shot. And our SU shoots the RHM once. I load high explosive here to do max damage to the RHM. And now I know my reload can beat the RHM. And I think you know too, he just stopped there and waited. So not a good trade. Generally, when you're in this situation where you're with even tanks or more or less even tanks, you don't want to be trading tank for tank if you can help it. Obviously, that's a general rule of thumb that you want to do no matter what state in the battle you are, but it's really important when you're getting with fewer and fewer tanks to not be trading tank for tank, because you can get snowballed and overwhelmed that much easier by the remaining enemy tanks. So now I'm going back to help defend here. So I'm trying to figure out how to get an angle of fire on these guys. Obviously, my tank destroyers over here in the south don't need my help spotting. What they need is my help shooting these guys from the sides. So I should have dove into the factory area over here a lot quicker. So now it's not looking very good. Now we're down 2 more tanks. And so right now is, I noticed that the tortoise was on really low health. So what I'm going to try and do here, there he goes. I reload a heat round here, I think. Yep. It's because while the RU-251 has decent pen here with 215, the tortoise side armor is really good. So I wanted to make sure that that kill shot penned. I took a risk there that the heat shell would have gone a little low and gone into his tracks and done no damage, but that is what it is. Quite surprised that this second shot penned the T-54E1. And right now I'm just trying to put down some masking fire here for my Scorpion. Unfortunately, the enemy already takes him out, but we made the T-54E1 back off here. And the STRV-103 shows up out of nowhere here. It looks like he probably came back. We'll pause here. When we were engaging the RHM over here with the Wheezy 120, there was no sign of the STRV up on the sniper ridge over here. He could have been sitting a little lower down over here in A6, but I doubt it, because as I was driving up here, I didn't get spotted. He would have easily spotted me. So it was more than likely that he was over here in A1, A2, and he relocated back over here to this flank. So he just showed up out of nowhere. Unfortunately, this is the kind of situation that you're going to run into a lot in this map and a lot of maps in World of Tanks, to where you don't have good line of sight into areas of the map to where you can see an enemy coming before they see you, and then you have the situation of you spot each other at the same time, right? So I instantly decide that I need to engage and kill this guy because he's the isolated tank. Yes, we had the problem of the Scorpion and the T-54E1 over here, and it would be nice to kill the T-54E1 first because he's an autoloader and he was pretty low health because somebody else shot him once, I think, and then I put 3 or 4 shells into him. But because of the situation at hand, the T-54E1 is not pushing, the Scorpion G is capping, and he is the isolated target because he's out here between me and the SU-130. So I need to go and kill this guy as soon as I can because we are having cap pressure put on us. So the quicker I can kill this guy and take care of the cap, the better. So he sees us going for him, and I do a little zig and a little zag here. He was anticipating me to Sorry, another pause. It's a very simple tactic that you can do in a scout. I did it a little badly there. So you can pretend that you're gonna try and flank them from one way, and obviously any fixed gun tank like this SDRV or any tank destroyer like that will turn for you, right? They'll turn so they can shoot you from the direction that you'll be coming. Just do a little zig and a zag, do a little S, and try to use a point of cover, the closest line of cover between you and them at the last possible second to zig. That way the cover will protect you as you change direction, because there's a time frame while your tank is still turning where you still haven't changed the angle that you are to them. So try to use the line of cover just at the last second as you do an S, and then they hopefully will not be able to anticipate you changing direction quickly enough, and you'll be able to flank them without taking a shot of damage. So I was able to do that. Luckily I crested a little too high here, but I was able to do it without taking any damage. So let's just keep going. Oh, lucky me. Artillery shot me. Splash didn't do a whole lot of damage to me, so that was lucky. And it was really lucky that the STRV had really bad reaction time, because the enemy already basically tracked me in front of the STRV. So two things I'm doing right now. I loaded high explosive because the back of the STRV is really soft, and you can pen it with high explosive from the you can pen it with high explosive from the RU-251 really easily. And I needed to kill the STRV as quickly as possible, so we can deal with the cap, right? There's only one guy on cap, and look at the kind of cap pressure that we have already. So the more damage I can do to him in the same amount of time, the better. The RU-251 has really good high explosive shells, 102 penetration with 320 alpha. And so yeah, let's keep going. I like to ramble too much, so... and then the other thing that I was doing in the engagement with the STRV was I was keeping myself directly behind him. Now, obviously, you're like, well, of course, it's a tank destroyer. We get the reset in there on the Scorpion. You say, well, of course, it's a tank destroyer. It's really important, if you can, to sit directly behind an STRV if you have him isolated and none of his team can help him. Because they drive almost as fast backwards as they do forwards. So they're a really fast tank destroyer, and if you can remove their ability to reverse quickly, they can basically easily traverse with you if they're able to drive backwards when they're out of siege mode. So right now we're playing 2v1 with a Scorpion here. Unfortunate that that wasn't the kill shot there. Now I'm really worried that our SU is going to die to the Scorpion here. Not too worried about Artie shooting me here because I have the giant factory wall here to protect me. Just going to sit here a little bit and wait for me to get unspotted here so the Artie doesn't do some sort of cheeky one-shot here through a window or a doorway or something. And so now I know exactly where, well, not exactly, but pretty close to where the enemy artillery is, right? So gonna pause here. So we've been all the way over on this side of the map for a part of the game, so it's pretty obvious the enemy artillery is in this area here, right? So I probably should have relocated and come back this way to engage the artillery from a direction that he isn't expecting me. That would be safer, but I decided to be really aggressive here. And probably is a misplay here to come from this direction. And I will be giving the Artie here a chance to snapshot me and potentially win the game if he kills the SU as well. So yeah, I did a bad side to approach this corner of the map, so he knows I'm coming now. I'm trying to use a little bit of cover what I can. He's in the little ditch here, so I'm trying and hoping that he isn't going to isn't able to loop his shell, or is having a harder time looping his shell over that that little embankment here. It's a little bit more difficult for Artie when they're lower than you in a little trough like this, and you are far enough away from them when they're aiming in TD mode because their shell has an arc and their reticle does funny hop things if you're right on the edge of a horizon line here like this. So I was hoping that he would miss, and honestly this was a misplay. I got really lucky. So lesson learned. Take the time to relocate. We had 4 minutes, so I had plenty of time to relocate back over here and approach from this side of the map, or if you're looking at the mini map, approach from this side, and it would have been much safer. So, but yeah, so this is the game that I had on Pilsen. We got 6 kills, and 5,000 damage and 3,000 assistance damage, and just showcasing basically more or less how to relocate back and forth as the battle progresses, and trying to figure out how to support your teammates as best I can. The initial part of the battle, we went over here, got some early vision on the enemy deployment over here, got some early assistance damage over here and on the 0 line and on their C8 perch. Then relocated back over here to the center and got a few shots in here on the 4-5 line, and then just basically relocated back and forth, back and forth. The enemy won this side of the map, we won this side of the map because our tank destroyers pushed the 0 line. And from there I supported the enemy push that came out of the 1-2-3 lines into our cap area, and I was able to tag team with this SU-130, and I think the Jagdpanther 2 was still alive there for a while, and the Scorpion that were back over here at Last Tanks Alive, so we were able to pull it out. So I hope you guys enjoy watching this video of the RU-251, the Tier 9 German scout tank on Pilsen, and it gives you some ideas about how to be flexible and being able to relocate and find the different angles of vision and line of sight and different angles of fire, so you can relocate and help your team on this more of a brawly type map. So hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and thanks for watching. Take care.